エリカちゃんの妹？
And in this moment, Sachi knew that she messed up. All right, what's going on, guys? This is another week here of a couple of cuckoos. And in this episode, this was definitely the injection of cute that I think we all needed this week. This was definitely one of the cutest episodes so far of a couple of cuckoos. And this one definitely had a lot of different interesting things that went on, especially with Nagi finally taking responsibility, even if he was doing it ignorantly. And what I mean by that is he definitely was able to take responsibility this week for Amano, but he did it not in the way, like they were not on the same page at all. Responsibility was there and responsibility was taken, but from Nagi's point of view, it was more like managerial sense, like kind of like an employee job thing, and Amano's sense was like a fiance. It was definitely like on the love side of it. So their terms of responsibility in those moments couldn't have been any different. And one of the things that I was really thinking and kind of noticing like during those moments is like I really hope that Nagi begins to kind of catch on and catch up to the fact that he's essentially going down a path that leads him down to Amano, which is the right path. It's 100% the right path, but he's messing up by not realizing that's the path that he's taking because, like I said, they're both on the same, they're both on different pages completely, and they need to get on the same page.
はっきり言ってくれ。帰りたくないから勉強を教えてほしいって。天野さんの問題は俺の問題だ。俺の言い名付けだから。
Also, one of the things I noticed too is like I made a little reference here. I don't think they did it, but I was like, oh, that anime Ao-chan can't study. This one was more like Amano-chan can't study, which I found that pretty funny as well. So basically, this episode, what ends up happening is it is like an episode of like 3 parts essentially. First part was all about Amano not being able to study, her failing the exam. We pick up right off where we left off on last week. We transition right into this week here, and Nagi is like, okay, we're gonna study. We're gonna be like studying nonstop. Amano gets all militaried out for it. She gets all ready for it. She gets all dressed up, all cosplayed out for it. They begin to study, and she is just like failing left and right. She gets scolded by Nagi. She runs away. So that's kind of all that thing that happens there. Sachi ends up getting really worried about Amano. Amano ends up staying up really late at night. Because of Sachi, Nagi goes and finally he's able to inject in, some real like helpfulness there. And he's able to essentially save Amano from herself, basically. And they're able to kind of pull it out their butt that, okay, now at this point, Amano was able to pass her exams. They share their cutest moment ever. That's like the next part of the episode. They share the cutest moment ever. Nagi gets to witness her from her teacher say, okay, yeah, you passed. I thought they were going to hug, but they didn't hug. It's kind of a lost opportunity there, but regardless, it was a really cute scene in between them. Then we transition into the next scene, which is them kind of celebrating at home. Sachi was like, oh, here's a festival that's happening. I was like, oh, I guess we're going to get a festival episode next week, which is still true. But the festival actually began happening this week. And Sachi tells, Amano, here's the festival that's going on. And then we transition into the next part, which was Sachi and Nagi, running the Umino family stand, the Umino fried noodle stand and everything. And we got to see all of that go on. We got to see Sachi get jealous a couple of different times, which I'm not really going to mention that anymore. You guys know that I don't like the whole Sachi Nagi stuff, so I'm just going to let that be. But we finally got to see, them interact. We got to see Saegawa come onto the scene. And in that moment, Nagi introduced Sachi as his sister, and Saegawa was like talking to him. Sachi got jealous again. And then we kind of go towards the end of the episode where Saegawa makes her appearance again because her and Nagi are going to go and walk the festival, kind of like a festival date. And in that moment, Amano sees her, she talks to her, and then she introduces Sachi as her sister, which I was like, oh no, all the questions that are going to come up. Like, why is how is she your sister, but she's Nagi's sister? Like, this makes no sense at all. She took it at face value for Nagi, and now we have this. So, like, what's the relationship? So now, you know, they're gonna have to tell Saegawa like what's going on exactly and kind of get her in the know. If they don't, Nagi's gonna lose some of his chances for sure. But then what this is gonna end up doing, no matter what direction it goes, he's gonna lose an opportunity with Saegawa even more, or Saegawa might get more bullish into. I don't know which direction it's gonna go, but my sense is Sagawa's gonna back off a little bit because she's gonna see the imminent and crazy connection that all three of them have, and you know, basically those two with SACHI is kind of like being the mediator between the two, or the thing that kind of like the glue between the two, essentially, because now she's gonna find out that their roots go a lot deeper than just surface like being betrothed. It's like it's familial at this point. So I'm excited to see what ends up happening as we move forward again. But, you know, there's a lot of other little nuances, little things that happen within the episode that weren't really too important. I would say those are kind of the main things. Amano passing her test, Nagi helping her along the way, Nagi taking responsibility, not knowing what that means because he's a big old bumbling buffoon and he says stuff and doesn't really realize the context or the meaning behind it. SACHI getting jealous a couple of different times, but SACHI also facilitating the relationship. She's also, like, if anything, she's helping Amano kind of, like, be solidified in that, even though that she kind of wants Nagi at the end of the day anyways. So I think that's good because I think the relationship that needs to happen is Nagi and Amano together, SACHI being the sister for both of them. I think that's kind of what needs to happen. I love how the dad was actually happy about her passing because he didn't want her to come home. He knows now that if she passed, it's because of Nagi's influence because she doesn't have a tutor anymore. And then I love seeing them in the festival time. I love seeing them in their yukata. I think they all looked extremely cute. And I just cannot wait for the suspense that has now officially built as we go into next week's episode. But I'm going to leave you guys on those thoughts there. Let me know what you guys thought about this week's episode down in the comments below. Let me know who looked cutest in their yukata in the comments below. And my friends, I will see you guys next week. Peace.